you tell me to shut up, I will. I've read this many times in bars and at the Get Born readings, and part of it was recorded on the Get Born Sound CD, which is maybe still around, I don't know. Not Get Born, 50-Second City. Yeah, 50-Second City Sound. Yeah. And there's a quote at the beginning which is attributed to John Zorn, who was a Webster College student who dropped out of music school back in the 60s or 70s. I don't know the exact dates. Anyway, he's a New York artist as well now. And since I read this a lot in crowded spaces where people are talking, I love this. This one's called ight, and it starts with, "Shut the fuck up! We're trying to make some music down here, jive-ass motherfuckers." John Zorn, August 1997, to Czech Republic President Václav Havel, U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, Laurie Anderson, and Lou Reed, who were talking during a Bar Koba show at the Knitting Factory. Their encroachment, sometimes welcome, sometimes haunting, can send a grown man to the John, the pulpit, the confessional, the madhouse. The same goes for all beings. Lasu apsu yelp, wolves bay, a car explodes, little kitty cats mew. Daddy's got a squeeze box, Mommy cries herself to sleep, Bob saves up for a parabolic microphone with the tips he makes washing sedan windows with a squeegee. Frank apes ducks from a blind, though he is deaf. Boom, boom, chug, chug, munch, munch. No silence. Plunging needles perhaps or popping pills to bring peace, but no silence. The buzz continues. Din. And nobody knows sound like me. Nobody knows sound. I hate sound and wear earplugs to work, to sleep, to everything, so I don't have to wear that sound, man, said the perturbed technician. Postal workers hum and groan, delivering checks to pay for the buffering, and the AC units drown out the crimes of the night. Love and happiness conquer the banal screams of use, and during the winter months, even Bach and Beethoven are muffled in the roar of the heaters, blowing their suffocating breath to keep the anemic from teeth chatters and shivers. A well-placed bug captures the ensuing moans, but can never take from her the past dalliances of the night, and the voices for which she yearns. He'll never say, "I love you." He doesn't speak English. He thinks she just wants the bang-bang. Ashamed of her lisp, he mutters to himself as he backs away each morning when the sickness is at its most audible. The coffee maker percolates to the ticking of the clock. The sawtooth mountains invite Morricone to the piazza, and the nuns beg their pupils to cease before the whack, whack, whack of the rulers on bones. The couple upstairs are pumping real good now, and they aren't afraid to share. Jimmy turns up the Wu-Tang. And nobody knows sound like me. Nobody knows sound. I hate sound and wear earplugs to work, to sleep, to everything, so I don't have to wear that sound, man, said the perturbed technician. On the chipper side of town, the giggling and tee-heeing is enough to quell thought. Piss drips silently down the thighs of the plebes. Breezes sing through the lips of the leaves. A broken guitar string heals itself and whispers love into a salamander's backside. The poet likes to think she is piddling her onomatopoeia into the porcelain late at night when the neighbors quit cheering on their children with one strop after another. The muse wants for crisp exactitude. His hip pops with each step. The senator is not convinced by the beating of the hummingbird's wings. Taking a sedative only muffles life's concert according to the Luddite. Troops stomp off to war in search of a rat-a-tat-tat of freedom and the squishy blood of the brown people, so you don't have to sell your body to the pimp with the blowing system for another gallon of glug-glug. The bass player wants more vocals in the monitor. Wolf Eyes signs with Sub Pop. I've heard about enough out of you, mister. The release of the safety leaves only a click. The killer stomps down a hall in anger. And nobody knows sound like me. Nobody knows sound. I hate sound and wear earplugs to work, to sleep, to everything, so I don't have to wear that sound, man, said the perturbed technician. The full moon sings its urgency in the minds of the night owls. Later, fenders crunch into each other, and a siren screams its self-importance as the doormen yell, "Last call!" Can you hear yourself think? Where is your inner voice, El Presidente? Can you hear that jingle, jangle, jingle? The hunger pang of a nation set to the bed of you gargling Satan's jism for schism? Because there are rivers, because there are breezes, because there are trees blowing in those breezes. Nobody knows sound like you do, hound, like you do now, like bats and sonar. As a billion boots crunch broken iPods like frozen snow and skulls of those that have held the nightmares of these masses. What? I say sound, I say. His voice cracked but delivered most days of the summer, and Grandpa listened, but not to know. I'll give you what for? Brother, can you hear me? Can you see me near you? Brother, can you feel me? Is that you singing? Are you the asshole who speaks about disambiguation? Eat some pie or shut it. Do you remember the first time you heard Devo while John Cage hunted mushrooms and danced to the twigs snap? Remember? Ilsa was thanking gods that farts were audible and munching on corn chips. Meanwhile, there was an interminable hiss in the PA, and the featured speaker could not be understood as your stomach grumbled, and some chump cracked his knuckles and sucked on mentholyptus when he wasn't hacking up last night's phlegm. The ball continues bouncing against the wall as the faucet drips, and a dwarf in wooden shoes does French-pressed fuel wind sprints on the wooden floors of your fragile mind. Time to jet the Zendo, Fifi. I've heard about enough out of you, mister. The release of the safety hardly makes a noise. The killer stomps down the hall. The full moon sings as Peter turns off the radio and locks the gate.